you full range of your legs, foot and fin control. We'll start with some useful stretches first. This one is good for your back and legs, and it's quite easy to do. What you'll do is you'll cross one leg over. So if I cross my left leg over to my right knee, bend it at 90 degrees, then I put one arm through the legs, join the hands together and lightly pull on the knee. You want to hold each stretch for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then with this stretch you'd alternate to the other leg, rest and then repeat another 1 or 2 times. This procedure you can actually follow for nearly all the stretches I show you, and do it 3 to 4 times a week. If you've got any pre-existing medical conditions, obviously get it checked out first before you attempt any of these stretches or exercises. The next stretch is similar to the last, but it also involves a bit more of the hip as well as the back and the leg. Now what you need to do is pull the left leg up, bend it at 90 degrees, then put your right hand on your foot and lightly pull on the knee, keeping the stomach tight. The next stretch is for your back. This one is quite advanced though. You should only attempt this one if you don't have any pre-existing medical conditions. What you see is the full range of motion. It's most likely you can go half of that. When you return, you must keep the stomach tight and return the feet very, very slowly all the way down, one vertebrae at a time. Do not rush and drop the legs or lose the tension in the body. Next we'll look at shoulder stretching, and this is simple. Lie face down on the floor. In this case I've extended out my right shoulder at 90 degrees straight, then I'm turning over my hips and applying a light pressure to the shoulder. You can see there, left arm's out, nice and straight. Don't put too much pressure on it, just till you feel it stretch the muscle. Then I can take the right arm in on the inside, lay it again straight 90 degrees, left arm over the top, and my body weight is pressing down on the shoulder joint. Once you've done that, repeat on the other side. This is really good to stretch out those shoulders. Next we'll look at an abdominal stretch. So you go onto your tiptoes, hands shoulder width apart at about chest level, and then you want to stick your head neutral position, push your hips towards the floor, lean back a little, pointing your toes. You can then transition from there into the cat stretch. To do this, knees and feet close together, sit your bum back right on top of your feet or as near to it as you can, and you should be on your fingertips, arms extended out, neutral head position. Try and hold each stretch for 30 seconds. Once you're done, you can either rest or transition back into the abdominal stretch, and then transition again back into the cat stretch. Again, don't overdo it, just till you feel the muscles start to stretch. The next stretch is about ankle mobility, and this is really important for scuba divers, as generally we're all very stiff in the ankle. What you do here is put the foot on a flat surface, weight through the heel, chest pushes directly on the knee needs to be over the top of the toes ideally, the heel must not lift, then you'll be able to really feel it stretch on the back of the ankle. You can move the knee from left to right, but you should only do this as your flexibility improves. Make sure the leg you're not stretching is stretched out as I'm showing you. The next stretch, which can really help more with the hips and the legs, is the squat stretch. And the idea is you sit your butt back and you try and go as low as you can. Ideally the bum goes lower than your knees. This is what we call breaking parallel. You should stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Your butt goes back and down. You can use your elbows to lightly push out the knees, and your feet can be slightly turned out as I'm showing here. Make sure you keep your chest up and your stomach muscles tight, and that goes for nearly all the stretches. While you first learn this, it's a good idea to use a low couch or a ball underneath your butt, so as you sit down you can have that for support as you then stand back up. The trick is only go as low as you can and gradually build up till you get to a full squat depth. As you stand, keep the stomach tight, chest up, and stand slowly. Next we'll look at a leg stretch. Just sit with your feet stretched out in front. Try your best to reach for your toes and lightly pull on the toes. Inhale, and as you exhale, try and reach a little bit further. The trick here is not to bend the knees, and if you can't reach, just go as far as you can. The next is another hip and leg stretch. Put your hands flat on the ground next to your foot that's outstretched at 90 degrees. Other leg goes straight back. And hold that stretch there, pushing the hip to the ground. You can also transition this so you can put your elbows down on the ground or as low as you can. This will add more pressure to the stretch. Another variation is when you're at the top, one arm outstretched. The elbow on the inside can press lightly against the knee. I'll show you it transitioning to the other leg now. And you lightly press the knee out, keeping the chest up, hips towards the ground, stomach muscles tight. The more you push your hips to the ground, the greater the stretch. Another slightly more advanced variation, you can bend up the back leg and pull this towards the butt. Keep the chest up, adding even more variation to the stretch. The next is a really good stretch for the hips and leg, and this is called the pigeon pose. It can put quite a bit of pressure on the knee joint, so just be careful when you're doing this. You bring one leg forward, put the leg flat or try and get it at 90 degrees. Arms go out in front, the opposite leg goes straight back. You can then try and get as low to the leg as you can. You can rest your elbows down like this. And the idea is to hold it there, putting the hips to the ground. Stretching will help a lot when you have warm joints, but it's also just as important to do 30 minutes of physical activity each day to build a reasonable fitness level that you can carry over to diving, and good for your general health as well. A lot of divers think swimming is enough to get their finning techniques as well as squats. This is using the same squatting technique I've already explained. Make sure your knees go out as you go down. Arms can extend out to help the balance. Chest should be up. The butt goes back. Stomach muscles should be squeezed all the time. Recommend 20 to 50 of these every day. Next we'll look at doing a simple lunge. So you extend one leg out at 90 degrees. Other leg should go straight down. Knee touches the ground lightly. You can use the hands on top of the leg to help you stand. And as you get better, you can just stop doing that. But it is important that the knee does not bend inwards. It should always bend to the outside of the foot that's in the front. Make sure, as with all the stretches, you maintain tightness in your stomach muscles, keeping your chest up. And go slow with this, making sure that knee does not bend inwards. This is a great exercise for building up the core muscles. This is holding a hollow, transitioning into a Superman hold, then transitioning back again to a hollow, always keeping the core tight as you move. If you cannot roll, don't worry about that. Just hold each of those positions, the Superman and the hollow, for 20 seconds at a time, and rest for 10 seconds, and repeat that 4 to 8 times. With the Superman hold, just make sure you try and keep your chest off the ground. Press your hips into the ground, and you want to also keep your legs off the ground too. So you're really just resting on that hip area. With the hollow hold, you want to extend the legs out, point the toes, keep the core tight. For a more advanced maneuver, you can transition into the hollow rock. If you're able to keep the core tight and you rock forward like this, you must maintain position though. Another exercise you should do daily is the plank hold. You want to try and do between 30 seconds and 1 minute in between resting. Your hips should not be too low or too high, and you should pull your stomach in tight to your butt. For those of you that find it easy, you can maybe transition into the advanced plank or gymnastic plank. Hands go shoulder width apart. Your chest goes over your hands, putting the weight as far forward as you can. Go onto your tiptoes. Squeeze the stomach tight. Lift the butt but not too high. If you're doing either of the planks right, you'll really feel it in the stomach. This is a bit low. This is good. Get the hips nice and high. And squeeze the butt. People should do some kind of sit-up. What I quite like is the gymnastic sit-up, as it really engages the core and forces you to keep that stomach really tight. You bring the knees up, the hands move forward and go towards the heels. You must point the toe and keep tension in the core.